I am a reader, but my memories are more revolve around singing around the piano. And I think I was in 3rd grade. My sisters can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when I was in 3rd grade, I came home and told mommy that I was the best singer in Raymond Elementary School. And she didn't laugh at me, and she supported me in that. And we used to just gather around the piano and sing all the time. And one time for my birthday, Jim gave me piano lessons. I had taken them when I was a kid, and like so many of us, I quit. And he gave me piano lessons. And we were in Cleveland for a visit, and as always, my mother played the piano. We ran out of energy. She kept going. She went for an hour or more, I think. And when we came home, I looked at him and I said, I quit. I said, because I will never be able to play like my mother played the piano. So I quit. The other thing that she gave me, besides my Hadassah arms, you all know what Hadassah arms are. You know, the arms that keep going even after you stop. Yes, so thank you, Mommy. Love you for that. Carrie came to visit me, and I was showing her around and showing her where things were. And I went to the top drawer of the buffet in the dining room because that's where I put my candy. And I looked at her and I said, oh my God, that's Nanny. And she just kind of looked at me and smiled. So I always knew I was loved and supported, that I could do whatever I wanted. And I sing today because of her. And I know all the words to just about every Broadway musical that's ever been made because of her. And I have my own candy drawer now because of her. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Peggy. Yeah, I think all of us as musicians, I think never could live up to Nanny's standards. I agree. Who would like to go next? My dad is raising his hand, so I'm going to let him go.
Yes, well, there's 2 things I remember most about my mother-in-law and father-in-law. Let me put them together. When Debbie and I were in Ann Arbor, Laura was obviously with us for part of the time. She was born a year before we left. We always wanted to be near family because we were pretty alone up there. We didn't have any family. So we used to drive, what was it, 2.5, 3 hours to Cleveland, or maybe more. And it was always a nice warm welcome in the home. I especially remember Emma Pop taking orders and going out to Malby's, was it Malby's, and various Chinese restaurants, and whatever I would want, miraculously would appear in the dining room, and we went to the corner and we would have a wonderful meal. Another thing I remember about my mother-in-law, Selma, who, by the way, I've been married 46 years. For 46 years, I never knew what to call her. So I used to call her, point to her and talk to her, but I occasionally called her Nanny, but I never called her Selma, ever. So it feels awkward now to do that. But in any case, one time we were there, Debbie and I were there, and I went with her to one of her gigs at, I think it was Menorah Park. And I sang the songs, the Broadway songs that Vicki was talking about, that she played on the piano. And I liked all those Broadway songs too. And it was wonderful. We got a great response from the audience. And I figured I should give up my gig teaching and become a Broadway star, but I didn't quite have the talent. But at any rate, yeah, so my mother-in-law brings a lot of fond and happy memories back to me. And again, she was an Elmo Popper, an anchor for us when we're living in Ann Arbor, to have some family nearby, which I miss to this day, not having family around.
Mom, you're not, you don't.
Yeah, I think I'm good, huh?
That's fine.
I'm gonna go next. Well, I started taking piano lessons, and I have recitals with little kids, and they play better than I do. So I'll never be my mother, but it inspired me. Thanks. That's all I can get out. Thanks.
Who would like to go next? Yeah, so it's hard. It's on two screens. So if you're raising your hand, I apologize. If anyone would like to go next, you can. Oh, Kara's raising her hand.
Hi, this is, my daughter has the screen for a moment. Oh, here we are. Yep. Sorry. This is Selma's granddaughter, Kara. My cousin Laura and my sister Jenny and I were all very fortunate to be able to spend a lot of time with Nanny when we were younger. But I think we were all also very fortunate to get to know her when we ourselves were adults. And when I think about my relationship with Nanny, I really value not only the times that I spent with her when I was little, really the way our relationship changed when I was older, and I saw a new side of Nanny and enjoy spending time with her in new ways. We went on, she would tell me stories about her childhood. We would go out to eat and try different restaurants. We went to a wine tasting together, which is probably something I didn't imagine doing with my grandmother when I was a little kid. But really, more than anything, it was the conversations we had throughout my life with her, first as a child, but then as an adult. And I feel very fortunate to have been able to spend so much time with her, and thank everyone for coming today and joining us and remembering her.
Thank you, Kara. Yeah, it's true. I think definitely as adults, I think our relationship really evolved with Nanny. Kara and I, when we were in middle school, used to take these road trips with Nanny and Marty. And at the time, it seemed they were very strict, but looking back on it, I really felt bad for them being stuck in the car for 2 weeks with two 13-year-old girls. And Kara and I were perfect angels, as my mother and Barbara will attest to. I'm being sarcastic right now, but yeah, I agree. I think it definitely, it was really nice getting to know her as an adult as well. I know I feel very fortunate that 3 out of 4 of my grandparents were actually alive well into my adulthood, and a lot of people don't get to experience that, and I feel very lucky. Who would like to go next? Elyse.
So these aren't actually my memories. It was, I just happened to look at this folder that I had in about 2003, when Lou and I were getting ready to train to become docents at the Florida Holocaust Museum. We were asked to talk to people and interview them and find out what they were doing through certain years. And so these are Aunt Selma's actual words, what she was doing from like 1933 to 1945. And some of these things are really interesting, and you may not know some of these things either. But she writes, I put them in chronological order. In 1933, I was 8 years old, going to school, going to Yiddish school after school, taking piano lessons and elocution dramatic lessons. She had found a program for a piano recital on February 26, 1933. On April 27, 35, I was one of many little kids in a children's musical program at the Children's Theater at Syracuse University. An interesting note is the fact that one of the leads in this program was taken by Gordon McCrae, who later became a very well-known movie musical star. During these early 30s, my father entertained at the Jewish Home for the Aged, and I started to accompany him there. I gave readings and monologues in Yiddish and also played an occasional piano solo. During this time, I started my first job working in the shoe store, but not selling shoes. I taught myself to type in the Hunt and Peck system so that I could type bills that went to the government for people who were on welfare. Later, when I went to high school, I had to unlearn the Hunt and Peck way of typing so that I could be doing what I'm doing right this minute. In 1942, while still in high school, I had my first paying job. I worked on weekends and after school at the grocery store down the street from the house, so it was easy to get to. It was a fun job. I even learned how to make potato salad, which was sold in the store. On July 26, 1936, my parents and I were invited to a place called the Eager Rose Gardens in the Catskills. One of our friends was being honored at this resort, and he asked me to appear on the program with many of his friends from the Yiddish theater. This was quite an experience. I remember that I gave a reading of Sholem Aleichem in Yiddish. May 12, 1939, Central High School. The Central High School Music Clubs did a concert vaudeville show. Believe it or not, I actually had a song in this show. And Picky, you'll appreciate this next part. I really talked it because singing is definitely not my forte. December 26, 1941, the Syracuse Jewish Club sponsored a Sabbath service dedicated to our many friends in the service of Uncle Sam. This next line she told me would probably astound me, which it did. Among participants were Selma Altfield and Louis Gerber Jr., and both were also on the committee for the program. August 23, 1942, I went to a Jewish war veterans picnic with a girlfriend and her friends who were members of the Jewish War Veterans and Auxiliary. I met a very nice young man who was in the Air Force. We danced a little, talked a lot, and even went for a ride in a canoe. Found out later that not only was I not a good swimmer, but he didn't swim at all. He took my phone number and the rest is history. We had a 2-year courtship while he was still in the service and traveling around the US. We got married in '44 after he had been out of the service and back at work in Cleveland, Ohio. After I got out of school, I went to work in the office of a pocketbook factory. I think I had showed this part to my father because the name of Resnick was written in his handwriting on the side, so I'm not sure. I guess that's the name of the pocketbook factory. This was my first full-time job. Part of my job consisted of working on the switchboard and making up the payroll for everyone in the factory. This was very interesting and quite a task. I started there by working in the shipping department, typing up orders and bills to be sent to the department stores that purchased our merchandise. I was then promoted to the main office where I did the work noted above. The payroll was made up in cash and we had to figure out exactly how many dollars, quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies went into each paycheck. You could not be off even by 1 penny or you had to start over. The breakdown was sent to Brink's payroll company and the breakdown on each envelope was sent and they filled the envelope as noted. This all had to be figured in your head, no calculators, no computers, etc. I am not the greatest mathematician and this was really a challenge, but an interesting one. In April of '43, I traveled by bus to my next job. Oh, this is actually when she started, at Day Brothers Department Store in downtown Syracuse. I worked in the first storage department, also doing office work, and from there I was transferred to another department where I worked for the merchandise manager, keeping a daily inventory of the merchandise on the floor. February 21st, 1943, Marshall Day, which was sponsored by the Marshall Girls and held at the JCC. The Marshalls were a group of young men who were all in the service, and the Marshall Girls temporarily took over the organization until the boys came home. This particular day was dedicated to the Marshall boys by the Marshall Girls. There were 2 basketball games because most of the players were from the JCC, and in the evening, dancing followed the game. And Selma actually subbed for Uncle Buddy that day. May 2nd of 1943, I was presented in a one-woman show by my dramatics elocution teacher, Mrs. Perlmutter. I did 7 numbers, readings, and monologues, 2 of which I had written myself. During the years between 1943 and 44, I continued with my dramatic presentations, which I truly loved doing. In addition, I wrote columns for the 2 Jewish English weekly newspapers in Syracuse. One column was written for the Jewish Ledger, and for the other newspaper, I wrote the Why Does It All. These columns were written weekly and had to do with what was going on in the various Jewish young people's organizations. And from there, I guess she started a family, but I thought it was really cool that these were her own words and it was about her previous life at that. And we'll miss her.
Elyse, that was really cool. I didn't know a lot of those stories, so I appreciate you sharing that.
I just unmuted myself again. Mute me back. Sorry.
Oh, you can do it. That's fine. You can.
Okay.
That's fine. No, we can't see you anymore, but that's fine.
Oh, okay. Let me get. Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah, I thought the stories were kind of cool, you know, and I had totally forgotten about it, and went back into this file that I had, because Aunt Selma was always great with helping me deal with family trees and putting all this stuff together. So I was happy to share it with everybody.
Who would like to go next? Rick.
I do Zoom all the time, so I'm online. I'm little Ricky, the young nephew, who's not so young anymore. Aunt Selma, there's a couple of things I would like to say. One is, you know, when I've been gone from Cleveland a long time, I always had faith that somebody of my parents' age was around to keep track of them and to have dinners with them and sort of take care of them at times. So I really appreciated that. And then I'm hearing this conversation about musicals, which really is stoking my thoughts, because we just had our my son and his family and our grandson, the wedding in London that Laura and Debbie were at, and my brother and Marie. And he is into musicals, and he's not 3. And so it would have been really a lot of fun for Selma to meet him, because I think she would have gotten a real kick. But she always had a good sense of humor and always greeted me nicely. And she also attracted Picky to come to Cleveland every once in a while. And then Picky ultimately sent me pictures of she and my mother, which I keep in my bedroom as a fond memory. So family is very important, and it's too bad we're seeing each other this way, but she was great, and what a great life that she lived. Thanks.
Thank you, Rick. I have such fond memories of your parents, Aunt Blanche and Uncle Harry. They were a real connection for me for my grandfather, who I unfortunately don't remember so well because I was only 8 years old when he died. And I never can think of the Cleveland Indians without thinking of your dad. He was such a fan. He and I used to write each other letters, condolence letters, whenever one of our teams would lose. So I miss having that. Who would like to go next? Oh, Mom? Mom, you have to unmute yourself there.
Oh, am I okay? Says hi to Bonnie Crock and Terry. I'm thrilled to see you after all these years. We have such great memories of your families. So hello, and thank you for sharing this day with us. And again, it's lovely to see everybody. Thank you all for coming, and we should Zoom more often for a great occasion. So we should really think about that. So again, thank you, and take care.
Thanks, Mom. Anyone else? Jenny?
Well, I have a ton of childhood memories of Nanny. I could keep us here for hours with them, but I'll keep it brief. What I remember most are a couple things. She gave me great back rubs, and I would sit on her couch with her behind me, and she'd just give me these wonderful back rubs and also gentle back scratches with her nails. She always seemed very glamorous to me. And I remember her hair, you know, it was sort of coiffed in this very elegant way in my eyes. And I used to call it the S hair, Nanny's S hair. And so she was sort of this fashion icon and a back rub icon for me, among many other things.
That was awesome, Jenny. Thank you. I love the description of her hair. It's so true. Who would like to go next?
Hi,
Hi, Carrie.
my name is Terry Zuckerman, and I have known Debbie and Picky and Barbara probably since the day I'm born. Our mothers grew up together. And I remember Selma most vividly standing in their house in Maple Heights every Christmas, making the fanciest of Christmas cookies for all of their neighbors, since they weren't living in a Jewish neighborhood. And Barbara and Debbie and I went to school together, and Picky celebrated her birthday with my brother. And I miss them all very much. And I remember when we were leaving for school, Elmer was very fastidious, and he had to do a dry run from Cleveland to Columbus to make sure we would get there in one piece and have a practice run.
Terry, thank you so much. That was beautiful. I definitely remember your mom, Lottie. I don't know if we ever met, but you've always been very famous in my life. My mom told me a lot of stories about you, and she always referred to you by your full name. She never talked about her friend Terry. My whole life I heard about Terry Zuckerman. So it's great to actually, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity in a way. So thank you so much for celebrating my grandmother. I appreciate that.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm sorry that we're getting together at such a time.
I agree. Thank you. Who would like to go next?
I guess I can go.
Okay.
I don't know if you see me.
Yeah, you're good. You're good, Billy.
Okay, I'm Billy Altfield. I'm Perry's one of Perry's sons. It took a while to get here. I apologize that I was late. I'm actually still in court. I'm in my chambers now, but thank God at least I was able to make it. And I mean, when I opened it up and I saw 30 participants of family, it's a great feeling to see everybody. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of faces I don't know. But it's typical of Aunt Selma to bring us all together, as a family, because family was very important to Aunt Selma. I just, I always saw her as like probably the calming influence among all those boys growing up in that household. And, she was just so amazing to us. Even though we lived in Florida, that woman up until just recently, every birthday, every anniversary, every family event, she was always recognizing it. And I think Judy probably got some of that that trait from her, because Judy's also the same way. I see you, Judy, in there. She was such a wonderful, wonderful lady who brought joy not only to those that she met, but I was just very moved to know that she shared her musical love of music with the nursing home up until the very end. Playing music, I have a fondness for that, because I also have a background in theater, and we would talk about the theater and how her dad was involved in the theater, and it's just very heartwarming to know that she lived such a long life and cherished her friends and cherished those who she was around until the very end. And I'm just very grateful that I had her as an aunt. And she's the last of that family, and it's sad, but it's just really great to spend and share our love of Aunt Selma with each other. So I'm very touched to be here.
Thank you, Billy. We appreciate you taking time to join us. I know my grandmother always thought of your dad as her baby brother, even all the way to the end. So she'd be so touched that you're here. Judy, was your hand raised? Did I see? You want to go? Judy, I'm sorry. Did you? I thought you. Did you raise your hand? Okay, yeah. You have to unmute yourself.
How's that?
Perfect.
There you go.
Okay. It's funny that Billy was talking about the theater, because that's what I was thinking of too, is how she and her piano, it was like they were connected. And all the while y'all are talking about her piano, I'm thinking of Billy and his musicals and how much he just loved, still loves them. But one of the things that I just thought of is her piano is always there. And I remember at the time we had gone to Cleveland to visit, and us kids, all 5 of us, had a fort under her piano. There wasn't a lot of room, but we did. And it was just one of those silly things that, you know, as a kid, you're like, hey, this is a great fort, you know. But it was fun. And she was always the one to call when you had a question about the family, because she had such an incredible memory, and I'm going to miss that. And we'd share recipes on the phone, and we'd just share stupid stuff, as, you know, we always do. But I'll miss her a lot. It's never a good time. And she would come to visit here when Dad was visiting us, and then when Dad was visiting us and they were in Cleveland, he would hop on and go up there for a month and leave us alone for a little while. But the fact that they were so close, even to the end, they always kind of kept in touch, and that's kind of cool. So we should all do that too. That's all. Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Judy. I appreciate that. And yeah, she was so close to Uncle Sammy. I remember visiting Nanny and Marty when I was in high school, and your dad was there as well. And it was just really nice. It was like a really nice time, and like hearing them reminisce together about their childhood. I learned a lot about my grandmother I had never heard before, and your dad was there. He inspired a lot of memories from her. So,
you know, the ages of them, I think my dad was 85, and Buddy, I think, was 83, and I think Perry, 82? That's pretty cool. And she's 95. I hope we all have those kind of genes, so that's pretty neat. I'm done.
thank you. Anyone like to go next? If anyone who has their camera off wants to speak, you're also welcome to just unmute yourself and say something. My dad, go ahead.
I apologize for speaking twice, but I have this memory when Debbie and I were a bit older, we would go to Cleveland when we were living in Massachusetts. We'd drive out there, and it'd be nice to see everybody, our Selma. And then next thing I know, we were corralled into their car, and we sat in the back, of course. And usually the car trip would be 2 hours at least, and we'd end up in some restaurant, which I thought was on the other side of the country. And usually in Pennsylvania, Dutch country in Ohio, if I remember correctly. But I do remember the trips were interminable, but the conversation was great. But yeah, I used to think it was funny that we drove so far to go to a restaurant, but it was wonderful.
Oh my God, yeah, sorry. Yes, you would get picked up at sometimes I would fly and you get picked up at the airport, and you would not end up back at their house for at least, oh God, 3 hours at least. And usually you would go to a Cracker Barrel. That was usually where you would eat. And I remember one time that happened. I think I was in my 20s. I just went, I took a long weekend and flew out to visit them. And I got really car sick, but I was like 25 years old and I was too embarrassed to admit it. And and we were in the middle of nowhere, and I needed a ginger ale so badly. We finally ended up, I think I lied and so I need to use the restroom because I didn't want to admit I was ill. And I ended up getting Verner's ginger soda, which, with all due respect to people from the Detroit area, was not Canada Dry. But yeah, those car trips were hilarious. So, but you're right, the conversation was always really good, but that was definitely a staple. They loved to drive. And it was great. They would explore new areas. Who would like to go next? Anyone? And again, if you're not on camera and would like to speak, please just unmute yourself. Please feel free to do that. Picky? Oh, Picky, did you were you raising your hand? Oh, it's just, you were telling me I was muted. Oh, Sharon.
Okay. Am I unmuted?
Yeah, you're muted.
Okay, so I just have wonderful, wonderful memories, Selma, and especially like everyone said, she never forgot a birthday, never forgot any duty you did take after her, for sure. So that was very special. But I do have one special memory. 2 years ago, Billy and I got to travel to the Finger Lakes, which we got to have dinner with Maxine and Ken one of the evenings. And we called Aunt Selma and we asked her where they grew up. And she knew the exact address. And this was 2 years ago. And Billy and I visited the house, and I have pictures of the house. She knew exactly where it was, and she described it and gave us the exact address, and it was just amazing. And I just feel beautiful memories of her. Very special lady. And it was. And Guy is right here. Flo is here. She's listening to everything. I'm not sure if everyone knew that she was here, but she is here. And yeah, so it's good to see everybody.
Sharon, thank you. And thank you for making sure Aunt Flo was able to be part of
course.
this service. I think
Rachel's here too, just behind. She's not in the camera view, but Rachel's part of this.
Mom, can you speak at all? Are you able to talk?
Aunt Flo, would you like to say something?
She doesn't
want to.
Oh.
She's listening. She's listening.
Thank you. Anyone like to go next? Again, if you're not on camera and would like to talk, if you're just feel free to unmute yourself. And if someone sees a hand raised that I don't see, please also shout out, that's fine. Anyone? Oh, Picky? Oh, Maxine. Maxine, go ahead.
Okay, I'll try to get through this because where are you, Billy? I'm a typical Altfield. The tears will start running. And Debbie, you know, the Altfields, all they do is cry. Anyhow, my best memory is for my 60th birthday when I came down to Florida, and it was me and Picky and Judy and Elyse, and we got together, but Judy and I met in the airport, and I was given this present that Molly framed for me. And what was it but my birth certificate that Aunt Selma had found this storkgram that the day I was born, and she sent it to Judy and Molly framed it, and it was a gift to me for my 60th birthday that she had kept all these years. That was to Mom and Dad from Selma and Elmer, congratulating them on my birth. It was the best.
Okay.
What happened?
Nothing.
Oh.
Thank you, Maxine. Picky, did you have your hand raised to talk? But you're on mute.
I'm telling everybody else to unmute and I don't unmute. I have some friends who joined the service and I just wanted to thank them. Debbie Reef Greenberg, our parents, did they grow up together? I think they grew up together. Yeah, so I've known Debbie since before I was born, and and we graduated high school together. And Marilyn Bayer, I've known Marilyn since junior high. And Janie, my college roommate. And so I love you all and thank you. I mean, obviously I love everybody else, but I just wanted to express to the three of you, thank you for joining today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you all. Janie, I've definitely heard about you as well. So nice to meet you. Anyone else? Scott? Okay. I know. Scott, you have to unmute yourself. Scott, you have to unmute yourself. Yeah. All right, now I think he's frozen. Oh, there you go. No, you're still on mute. You're still on mute. Oh dear.
Laura, I think as you're being the host, you might be able to unmute people.
I'm not officially the host.
Oh, okay.
I think only the funeral home. I don't. I can try to. No, I can't unmute him.
Okay.
Oh, Scott,
Okay.
there you go. Yeah, yay.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. I'm not a techno, but I am what in Yiddish is called a makatona. I'm not related in any way other than through Debbie and the Segal sisters to Selma, but we once had a wonderful conversation. I was reading a book called 6 of the 6 Million about a young man in the Midwest, I think it was Ohio or Indiana, who his father's brothers had all moved to the USA, and one of the brothers went back to Ukraine, and he and his family were wiped out in the Holocaust, but they had communicated before the Nazi invasion in 1941, and he kept talking. His uncle had talked about a kessel, so he thought it was a castle, but a kessel in Yiddish means a cellar, and the family had hidden in a cellar, not in a castle. And Selman and I were talking back and forth with the 25 Yiddish words that I know, and we just had this most wonderful communication between the two of us. And we were at a restaurant in Louisville, Colorado, and the entire Segal family were there. And I just felt so close to everybody that it was wonderful. And Selma was the center of it all. And her energy level, I guess she was in her late 80s at that time, maybe mid 80s. She was like a teenager. And I just felt so bonded with her at that moment that I've never forgotten it. And that's all I want to say. I'm glad I could find the unmute button eventually. So thank you all. Okay.
Thanks, Scott. That was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who would like to go next?
Laura, this is Carol. I've just unmuted to let you know that my mom would like to speak next.
Oh, good. Yes, I texted
screen,
Barbara. Yeah, Barbara, please go ahead.
You can't unmute.
I don't have the I don't have hosting capabilities.
So Mom, I think if you just start speaking, it should come through.
Barbara, it looks like you're on. Michael, are you able to unmute? Michael from Berkowitz-Kumin, are you able to unmute one of the Barbara Wortmans? One is on mute, one isn't.
Oh.
Mom, you can also call my phone and we could do it that way and as a backup plan if need be.
The unmute button's in the lower left corner.
It looks like she is technically unmuted, but there might be something
She has two
going on with her mic. The other one, two. Where's the other? I see.
There's one on the side.
Oh, that one.
Screen, yeah. So I don't know which one she's actually.
I see. Yep.
Yeah, Kara, do you want to call her?
Yeah, let's try.
Oh wait.
Oh, thank you. I just want to read Erica Altfield, what we're calling Aunt Barbara. Erica Altfield wrote in the chat, if anyone hasn't seen this, Erica, if you don't mind, I'm just going to read this out loud. It's storming where I am, but I just want to express my sincere condolences to everyone present and anyone who cannot be here. Aunt Selma was a sweet, kind, and thoughtful person. She never missed a birthday or life event and was always such a joy to be around. Thank you, Erica. That was really very nice.
Wait, I'm still trying to reach my mom, so it may just be another moment.
Okay. Anyone else while we're trying to get in touch with my aunt have anything?
Actually, we're good to go with.
All right, great. Okay, so we're gonna have Marilyn. You listen after my aunt. Okay.
Okay. Mom, I'm putting you on speaker. Mom, you're on speaker now. And
I can see you.
okay, okay, we're getting feedback. So this, Mom, can you mute?
I'm moving away from. Is it better if I move away now?
I think this is okay. Try to mute both of the connections you have, and that might solve the problem.
Okay. Okay. I moved away from the computer, but okay. Let's see. How's this?
It's not great, but is it okay with everyone? Okay.
Hello?
It's okay, Mom. I think everyone can hear.
Okay. First of all, I'm not sitting here in my pajamas. I did get dressed. I don't know why. You have the picture or the video or whatever, because I've been on Zoom calls before. Anyway, long story short, I just wanted to give thanks to everybody who's here, and also a couple other things about my mother. Some of my other memories besides the library were some of the wonderful surprises, parties she tried to pull for me when I was in elementary school. Except she was bringing lunch to school for the surprise party, and I woke up sick. And I couldn't understand why she kept asking, "You sure you don't feel well? You can't go to school?" Well, she finally had to tell me what was going on, and so this is in January, she walked over to the school with all my girls' lunches, because none of them were bringing lunch to school. And she also played piano for our dancing teacher, so we all could get lessons, ballet, tap. Did that for years. And I was the only one. I didn't take any piano lessons or learn piano from her when I was young, but I did learn later. And she gave me a lot of responsibility at home with watching my sisters and babysitting for others in the neighborhood, and learning a lot of responsibility and helping people, and both my parents with the good values, of course. And we're going to miss her greatly. And again, I just was a little bit more difficult talking this way, but I'm grateful for all of you who are attending, and hi to everybody I haven't seen in a long time or talked to. And I won't go on much more, but again, thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Barbara. I'm glad you got to say something, and I can personally relate. I'm glad that Nanny took you to the library, because indirectly that may have informed me as well. Marilyn Bayer, you had your hand raised. Would you like to say something?
I've known Picky since we were 11 in junior high, and I remember going over to their house on Shoal with the big piano. And Piggy's, I'm like, as a non-family member, Picky's mom was just so nice and kind and welcoming. I always remember that about her. And even when I got older and got married, second time, but she had, Picky's mom had us over to her house for like a brunch, I think. And it was, so she's always been very, very kind and very welcoming. She was a great lady and we'll miss her. Thank you.
Marilyn, thank you so much. I definitely remember the piano on Shoal Road as well. So, anyone else? And again, if anyone is not on camera would like to speak, feel free to unmute yourself. And also, please, if I miss a hand, please someone tell me if I'm missing someone. Anyone else?
Hi, Laura. This is Alan Altfield.
Oh, hi, Alan. How are you?
Good. Hello, Debbie and Picky and everybody else, and all of my kids too. Let's see. One of my first memories, I guess, would be when you guys all came down for my bar mitzvah. That was probably the first time I met everybody all at the same time. My 5 older girl cousins that I met for the first time. Selma and Buddy and Sam and Kurt and Elmer. Everybody was there. That's one of my first memories of everybody all being together and having family stuff and realizing that, hey, you know, my dad and I and his offspring are not the only ones that have Altfield humor and also have the Altfield curse. But and those that know it, know it. So I just wanted to send that out. Selma was a great person. She, like people have said, remembered my kids' birthdays year after year after year. Great woman to be with. When I traveled up to Ohio for a couple of football games, we went and met with Marty and Selma and had a long weekend with them, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, she will be missed, and I thank you, Laura, for putting all of this together. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Love you all.
Alan, thank you. And I always want to say you're the only extended relative whose birthday I know, because I know you and my mother have the same birthday. I have pictures the two of you, I think at maybe the rehearsal dinner of my blowing out birthday candles. And
yes. Happy belated birthday, Debbie.
That's right. August 5th.
Yep.
And happy belated birthday to you as well. And I just say I'm just here playing host, but really it was my my aunts and my mom who put it together. My aunt Picky and of course Berkowitz-Kumin. So I cannot take credit. I'm just, I guess, the ham who offered to be the MC. But thank you so much. Anyone else? Kara, did you want to? I look like you're trying to unmute. No. Oh no, sorry. Well, go ahead.
I just want, if we're wrapping up, I just want to say again, thank you, everybody.
I love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
I do. Oh, Scott, did you have?
Yeah, I just want to say it's been wonderful meeting everybody, and I'm full of emotion, and I feel close to people I've never met, obviously, and it's been a wonderful tribute to a wonderful woman, and I am just leaving you all with those thoughts, and I just want to say thanks again, Laura, and the Segal sisters, and the nieces, the cousins, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, and it's very heartwarming, and thank you all very much. Bye. Okay.
Sorry. If no one else has anything further, my father is actually going to lead us in the mourner's cottage. For those who know that, feel free to unmute yourself so you can talk along.
Yeah, Laura, tell everyone to unmute themselves. We'll all say it together. I'm not going to do it by myself. Everyone.
Anyone who knows the mourner's cottage or would like to read it, I just, what I'll do is I just basically transliteration on Google. That's how I did it. I used to know the Hebrew, but.
All right, everyone unmute yourselves and let's just all say it together, those who know it. All right. Yikadab,
Israel.
Thank you. Mom, Vicky or Barbara, do you have anything that you'd like to say in conclusion or anything? Mom, go ahead.
Again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. And thank you. I see Seth and I see Laura and I saw Eli and Jenny and Kara and Janie and Alan and everybody and Francie and Ricky and everybody else. If I missed you, forgive me. And just and Alan, again, happy belated birthday. And thank you again. Berkowitz-Kumin, couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, and good job, Laura.
It was very easy.
Thanks a lot, Laura.
The